Being with Unanimous Management, you know.
Hit very hard, and I learned that I at least had the character and the grit to get through it.
And I think with Olivia, I want Franchon Cruz, the most overrated two-time world champion in boxing. Sayings of, don't let the inmates run the asylum. That statement to me is the wildest statement in the world. I am working for them.
Welcome to the Ring with the Parley with your hosts, Kendall Gill and TLO, where they duke it out over the current events of the sweet science. Moderated by Mindy Bryant, with correspondent Alex Correa of the Squared Circle Report. Sponsored by 60/40.
What's up, guys? TLO here for the Parley alongside 15-year NBA veteran and former professional boxer, Kendall Gill, in the building. We are here at the Unanimous Boxing Gym on the north side of Chicago, and we're happy to be here with Trinidad Garcia, a trainer manager who's been here for a while, and you gave us the invite to come through, man. You got some big news, I heard.
Yeah, I guess I consider it big news for sure. We decided to open up Unanimous Management. Me and my partner, Jason Parenzo, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. He's out of town. We saw a need for fighters in Chicago across the United States that needed to be filled correctly. You know, I've been part of Chicago boxing scene for as long as I can remember, probably as early as 8 years old, but professionally, you know, I turned pro at 21 years old. Stopped when I was 32 years old. I'm 41 years old now. And on that time, I think I've kind of did an internship with Chicago boxing, right? Starting off as like a glove runner, watching what was going on there and the things I didn't like to see. And then moving on throughout the ranks, owning the gym, starting off in the amateur level, being able to do that, and then watching fighters go through something that I went through under 10 years ago. Feeling that, how am I going to get my next fight? How am I going to be able to have a job and work, right? Have a job and work out every day and train properly. Not wanting to see what happened to a lot of people that I've watched throughout the years end up with nothing when this is all over. Making somebody being able to be like, this might be enough now. That's something that I want to be able to bring to the table on top of just years of experience.
Okay. Yeah. So the difference between being a trainer and a manager, can you explain that?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because I'm 41 years old. I'm not this guy that's so much older, like some trainers are, like extremely old compared to like their fighters. Right. As a perfect example, let me first introduce Olivia Curry and Jordan Jackson. These are two of my fighters that I have signed here out of Chicago. Olivia's been with me for a couple years now. I train her as well as Jordan. And with Olivia, to answer your question, it was really, really interesting. I'm her manager as well as her trainer. And the same thing with Jordan, AKA Chucky. It's always gonna be Chucky to me. So I've been in this situation with her where the managing hat has to come on and the trainer hat has to come on. And sometimes it's very hard to be able to switch both. I think what I try to do is I try to always stick to a certain path that me and my business partners always talked about. Putting them in the right situation, understanding what that means, and as long as I can do that, I can do that with both hats.
You know, this is different. This is different territory, right? When you're promoting boxers and so forth, you got to make the right decisions, right? What makes sense for the boxer, what makes sense for the company. How does that differ for you now when it comes to, you know, managing your boxers and the new ones that you have on board as well?
It's a great question. I think the best way I can answer that is really by knowing the business, knowing what's going on. right? Understanding from the rankings, the fighters that you're trying to put them in with. That is what I do. I'm up at all hours, always on BoxRec, contacting different managers, making sure, is this the best fit for me? Somebody like Chucky, in his first fight back after a 2-year layoff, I put him in against a guy, somebody 6-2, and he was 2-0. But what I knew of that guy's skill set, tough guy, tough as nails, but I know his skill set more. And it was my job to be like, he's sick. Everybody was like, you're nuts. Why are you putting him in there? I was like, because I know Chucky's ability. And he swept it 5 out of 6 rounds, right? The real big part behind it is being able to be honest with your fighters. Like, look, this is a 6-2 guy. You are 2-0. I know what this looks like to everybody else. But here's what I know about you, and here's what I know about him. I need to be able to have my fighter trust me as much as I trust them. That's a big part behind it.
Chucky, you took a couple years off. What made you come back to the sport, and where do you see your future going with Unanimous Management?
I believe it's gonna go as far as, I allow it to or whatever. Being with Unanimous Management, So
Hell, did you not call me shit tonight? I was gonna say, I know I got big and I'm bald, but that don't put me out there like that. Go ahead.
yeah, but the core team really slowed down the progress. But everything happened for a reason. I'm back. I feel better than ever now. So,
With Chucky, he had an opportunity to do Combat League. He was doing the Team Combat League. Do you know what that? You guys know what that is? You're familiar with it? Yeah. And he was 4-1 in Team Combat League this time around, facing ex contenders and Ray Robinson, and facing Cuban national champions. And going in there after this massive layoff, then he got his fight last October. Then he had a little bit more of a layoff, then goes into Team Combat League. And he gets that experience that maybe he didn't have for those first 2 years of having that layoff between, really, he's only had 6 real rounds in the ring as a professional fighter from his last fight, to be able to get this world-class competition where it's more of these, to me, Team Combat League reminded me of high-end sparring sessions. Everything you got for one round. And he went in there and he did his thing. And to me, it's going to be harder and harder to get him fights because people are going to see that now, and they're going to be scared of him now, as they should be, because his talent level is going to go as high as Chucky wants it to go.
Yeah, Chucky, in saying that, where do you feel most comfortable? 160, 168. We know you're right around those 2 weight classes. Where do you think you're best at?
I believe I'm better at 160. I was just in the Team Combat League fighting at light heavyweight, so but I'm more comfortable at a smaller weight though. I walk around like 180, so I could do 160 easy. All
right, good. You're a big 160 pounder, man.
He is. He's a big guy with great reflexes, who is surprisingly smart as can be. That's right. I said surprisingly. He's one of the smarter guys. He can't help himself than to open his mouth up when he sees somebody else doing something, even if it's outside the ring. Like just watching the sparring, hey, next time let's do this compared to this. He's very helpful. He's very wanting to be engaging with the other fighters that we have on our team, right? Because his experience is from when he was young. He's been how many years have you been doing this now?
I've been boxing since high school.
So you're talking about 15 years,
yeah,
right? And being around the Chicago game and seeing the different styles, he is way more IQ than what people give him credit for sure.
Obviously Olivia is here too, and Olivia, we went to Miami your last fight with Melody, ended up being a draw. But you're a name that that circulates a lot from what I know, right? And Trinidad, you as the manager, as we talk about Olivia, how do we see that progression for Olivia in regards to managing her career path now?
I've been managing Olivia's career from day one. Yeah. There was one of my favorite posts that I've ever had that anybody's ever put out there was me, Lalo, and Olivia. And it was after the Shadeja fight last year, August 3rd. It's coming up in a year. I can't even believe that. But August 5th. And we're sitting there after the fight, and we just have a picture of just us three. And I remember going through my head, like, we went from her pro debut, 2021 of May of 2021, the middle of the pandemic still. We're in Mexico in a small town.
Mm-hmm.
We're cutting weight because the girl was way smaller than what we thought, and we had to cut some weight down, and we did it on the rooftop with the maids washing the sheets because there's no gym out there. We're the only three people in the whole hotel. Me, my other co-trainer, Lalo Baez, and Olivia, and we're up there trying to cut this weight on the rooftop. And I remember them being like, this is all gonna be worth it. Wait till you see what we're gonna do one day. So for me to go there, to be able to go to Dallas, 30,000 people, and a lot of people don't realize this about her fight on that night. This wasn't like your typical undercard. That is the Jake Paul effect. Hate him or love him, the guy puts butts in seats. The undercard it wasn't full yet, but there were still 25 people in the arena when we walked out. So to be able to see that, to be able to help guide that, with Olivia, I have a co-manager in Rick Ramos with Olivia, and he was able to help us, guide us to those moments, So that was definitely a big help, and he helped with that dramatically for us, being able to be on that level that he was already at with Jessica McCaskill at the time, and still being able to have that experience to bring in. I'll always be thankful for that, and I think between now and then, I think the difference is now is when she fought Shadeja, I think I was one of only like 3 people that knew what was going to happen in that fight. I knew Olivia was going to come with everything she had. I knew Olivia was going to be on her feet when the fight ended, and nobody else thought that. And she went out there and she performed. I was so unbelievably proud of after those fights. Like, it's really weird. We always talk about this. I think all fighters kind of experience this. You probably experience this as well, Kendall, whether in basketball or in boxing. Leading up the week of the fight, everything is running. Your mind's running, the adrenaline's running. You just want to get you made weight. You just want to get that over with. And then the fight ends, and you're like, okay, cool. And then all of a sudden, there's a lull. In between, for some reason, like something's missing all of a sudden. Like, the fight's over, and it's just like, you're like, I didn't have that low with Shadeja. Because I knew that we gave the best performance that we could possibly give on that night. And beyond proud. I give her more stuff than anybody else in this gym. I'm the first person to admit it. But what she did on that night didn't just propel her, it propelled Unanimous Management, Unanimous Boxing, Trinidad Garcia. It changed the whole dynamic of what I decided to do in a business because of the hard work, the dedication, the skill set of Olivia Curry.
All right, rising tide lifts all boats. So in that fight, what did you learn about yourself? Because we're watching the fight here in Chicago, rooting you on and everything. And I felt like what Trinidad just said, you gave your everything. Did you come out of that fight, when you walked out of that ring, were you a different fighter?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and it feels strange to, like, the part of me that's an athlete, like, I don't want to be proud of a loss, you know what I mean? But I do think we learned so much. We went up a weight class and we fought someone who hit very hard, and I learned that I at least had the character and the grit to get through it, and that I could listen, because she hurt me in round 7 or 8, came back to the corner, and he told me to do something different, and I was able to implement that to make it through the rest of the fight and actually come out round 9 and 10 stronger than I had been in the previous rounds. Told me to move. Told me to move my feet.
We had a game plan, and that was to go at her. You weren't gonna try to Shadeja is a phenomenal counterpuncher, And that's the reason why I did bring Chucky in, because Chucky's a phenomenal counterpuncher. Fights a lot like Shadeja does, or Shadeja fights like a lot like Chucky does. Everybody, I got you.
Well, if he hadn't been here to prepare me, I think it would have gone differently, to be honest. Like when she hit me, I was like, okay, so it's kind of like when Chucky hits me.
And then
good.
it's like, and you know, and watching it unfold, it's really interesting. As a trainer, we had a game plan. And it was, at one point, she was like, but by the 8th round, we knew what was happening in the fight at that point. It was either she was going to knock her out or we were losing a decision. Then my manager hat went on. And she was like, but how do they catch it on TV? And goes, but how do I win this fight? I said, shut up. I need you to move. Move. Hold on to her, grab her. And then watching it back, when I watched it at home, my coach hat came on. Being at those moments, I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like I've been in multiple world championship moments in my life. That was a high level. That wasn't even a world title, but that was like one of the highest levels that I ever been on, the highest level that I ever been on as a coach. Hearing people of your peers around that corner, around TV, talking about he said the right thing was probably one of the most validating things I've ever had in my life. I got emotional at home. I'm serious, because you hope for the love of God I'm telling her the right thing, right? Because she's giving me her life in that ring. And you have to make that decision. What I'm also going to say is, when she did get hurt in like the 6th round, where I was sitting in that ring, what a lot of people don't realize as a coach, if you're sitting on the left side compared to the right side, I didn't see her get hit with those hard shots in that fight. The ones that rocked her legs, I didn't see it, because where I was, I didn't see it. So when everybody was like, I don't know if they should stop the fight, when the referee comes to me, he's like, you better show me something to stop it. I looked at him like I was going to whoop him, because I was like, what are you talking about? Because I didn't say, when I watched on TV, that was a little bit different. I was like, good job, Olivia. I was like, she did the stinky leg and everything. But at the same time, it was like, wow. I was in awe of her. Like, how do you not? She showed up. She showed out. Our stock went up. It didn't go down.
Well, and the good thing is, like, now I think from a management perspective going forward, we at least know, like, win or lose, we know what operating at that type of higher level fight feels like. So for anyone on the team who gets that opportunity now, we're going to be able to come in more prepared. And, like, obviously I hope that in the future, I'm 34, so I only have, not like a ton more years left in the sport. So I hope that I get more opportunities like that. And that next time when we go, we're going to win, hopefully, right? That's the goal.
Absolutely right. You, in the words of Teddy Atlas, you behaved like a fighter.
Yeah.
In that fight.
Sure tried.
So here's a question I have for you. Out of all of the women out there, who would you most like? What is your dream fight?
Honestly, I don't know how he's going to feel about this, but I would like to leave the sport having fought Claressa, because she's the one at my weight class who is the best in the world. And I'm not doing this, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm not doing this to coast on by and try to win every one of my fights. I've already lost fights, right? I've lost 2. So in that sense, like, that burden is off my shoulder. So why not fight the best in the world? I want to see how I can perform against her. I want to see what I can give to her. Like, she needs a challenge. I know she's moved up now, but I'm also at a weight class where I can stay at 160. I can do 168. I can, if someone wants to, I can do 175.
She can do 175
eat a sandwich
too.
And be at 175, right? So
that being you asking that question. When Olivia came to me, when she was ready to turn pro, I did not train Olivia in the amateurs at all. What I knew about Olivia, as well as Chucky, was when I really became their coaches for the National Golden Glove team. I loved his personality. I thought I still believe he will be he's not a kid, a 30-year-old man. I believe he'll still be a star. There are just the talent level as well as his personality. He seems a little dull right now, but most of the time he's not. And then with Olivia, and I've told this story 1,000 times. I know she's always like, Thanks, Trinidad. Olivia couldn't fight for jack when I first met Olivia. I was like, she is the worst one of all of them, but she kept on showing up. Like, I would go to national tournaments and Lalo would be like, hey, this woman Olivia wants to work corner from Chicago. I'm like, you back again? I'm like, because it wasn't like a successful run, you know? So I would see it, but I was like, man, but she keeps on coming back to these things and working hard. It's hard to cut weight by yourself. It's hard to get motivated when a coach isn't motivating you. It's like that for all of us have been there and experienced that. So for her to keep on coming back was like, what is she doing? And then when she finally came and talked to me, and she sat down and she's like, I'm looking for a coach. I don't know what. She's like, I don't really like. I just told her, I'm like, you got about a year before I even think about her fighting, and we did. We went through. There were 4 of them that started. I'm never gonna name anybody. There were 4 of them that started with me. She was the only one that left. The last one's to succeed. So yeah.
Jordan, same question to you. What do you hope to, who do you hope to get to at some point, fight at some point in your division, whether you move up or down in your weight class from 160, 168?
Man, you know what? That's a good question. I don't know who I want to fight for real.
Charlo brothers in right around your division.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll fight one of them.
I think that would be realistic. I don't think it's realistic yet, right? I think right now, I think the ultimate goal is for us to get the right kind of fights. I need him to keep on growing. I need him to be active. Yeah. I think the best version of Jordan is an active guy, an exciting one, excited to be at the gym, a reason to keep on coming every day. Like, I get it. As a fighter, when you don't have a date lined up, half of these guys are all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? But his dedication in the last year, like, he's a different person. Watching him, guiding him, I've had to yell at him. It's just been, you know what I mean? It's a good thing. I think he's gonna make noise against a lot of these prospects that are out there. Yeah. I really, truly believe that. I think he can go out there and shock a lot of them because they don't expect what we all know from him. And I think with Olivia, I want Franchon Cruz. I want Franchon Cruz, the most overrated 2-time world champion in boxing. And I know she's over here like, why? Because it's true.
But the one thing you do have, Trinidad, you have the ability to talk shit, and that's
never one day in my life.
That is one of the key things.
This is about to go viral right
for a promoter. Okay,
He does it.
Yeah, let him do it.
Yeah.
Okay, let him do it.
The thing is this. So all the credit to Franchon. She did what we didn't do, and she beat Shadeja in the ugliest fight I've probably seen in 2 or 3 years. She's the most out of shape world champion in boxing. I mean, I was there when she won undisputed in Madison Square Garden when the Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano won. I was 3rd row. I watched her fight, and all that kept on going through my head was, oh, we need to get this fight ASAP. Because I didn't think it then. I don't think it now. She won 2 more world titles since, and I still don't believe she is what she is. So if you're watching, we're willing to, at any given point, fight Franchon. And that's not an insult to her. That's just, I want the world titles, and she's just kind of holding them for Olivia at this point. I think all of us kind of know that. So
You believe that, Olivia?
I do, yeah. I think I can beat her. And I respect what she's done. You have to give respect to anyone who has the belts, right? But it's a sport. You're here to win belts.
She's a different era of women's boxing. Okay. And I'm not saying Olivia, I'm talking about Franchon. If you look at Clarissa, Amanda, Katie Taylor, the Jessica McCaskills of the world, the Chantel Cameron, all those people, these are phenomenal. Olivia Curry, they're phenomenal athlete, boxers, whatever it is. Franchon is a different generation of women boxing. She's the Holly Holmes of women's boxing at this point. She's that level to me. I watch her and I think to myself, there got to be something. I'm looking forward to seeing what that something is, but I really don't.
But if it's
know.
just power now at this point,
She's not stronger
power,
than
so,
Shadeja.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Well, Franchon, you got to fight.
Come on. You know, and before we conclude, you know, you have other boxers, right? And so I just kind of want to spotlight them here real quick, you know, an abbreviated version of it, you know, with Elia and Ronnie. Can I go through the names real quick?
Yeah. So I have Juan Guerra. Juan Guerra is coming off the Illinois State. He just won the Illinois State title back in April of this past year in a rematch. He just won it. He's 5-1-1. Has fought nothing but winning records. That sounds really weird to say, but most guys don't in the beginning of the career. He's fought nothing but tough guys across the country. Juan is somebody that is going to upset a lot of people because they're not going to expect it. He's hardworking in and out of the ring, his own construction company. So he goes from laying concrete to coming in and training for 4 hours a day. The dedication level is insane with him. So the typical hard-working Mexican fighter. That's what I can say with a great ring IQ. That's what I can say about him. Ronnie Jalomo. Ronnie's my guy. Ronnie has worked for me at Unanimous Boxing now for going on 6 years. Came to me at a really young age. We always say this, watching Ronnie, it always kind of warms up my heart, if you will. He's a single father. He's a great, great dad. He drives an hour and a half to get his daughter, drives an hour and a half to drop off his daughter, does all of that. And then you watch him train people. He has a gift of training people, like a gift. You're the normal white-collar person. He can really bring you to a different level of training. But because of that, his IQ is bananas. He's going to have a career in this sport if he wants it after his boxing career. But he can analyze something right then and there. That's what I love about Ronnie inside the ring. He's going to see something and make it happen right then and there. He's going to take advantage of what you have, and you're not going to be in better shape than Ronnie.
That's true. When I went to Miami and saw him, and this guy's yelling, "Get on that stick! Get on that stick!" I mean, literally listening. He had Lalo obviously in the corner.
Yeah.
But he has the ability to.
Yeah. I'm the loudest person in the room anywhere I go anyway. So that's it don't matter if there's 30,000 people, you're gonna hear my voice at some point or another. And then I have the newest, then I have Caleb Hernandez. Actually, let me go to him first. Caleb Hernandez is one of the most talented guys that ever came out of this city. He's 8-1 or 9-1. I'm sorry, 9-1 with 8 knockouts. Was out of the Terrence Crawford camp. He's taking some time off now, just doing some other things for work and stuff like that. But this kid, everybody in the city has always been like, okay, you know, like he's always had it. You know, he's always had it. Whether he decides to come back like in any time soon, I'm not sure about that yet. He's still making that decision. But I think Caleb is still probably one of the best fighters that came out, that has probably come out of the Midwest, because he is from Indiana. He represents Indiana. He in Indiana strong for Caleb Hernandez, and but he is a phenomenal fighter. Then the most recent signing, in which I'm extremely excited, because it's one thing to have everybody that I know, right? Like I've known Olivia Curry, I've known Jordan, I've known Caleb, I've known Ronnie obviously for years, and Juan and all of those people. But to be able to bring somebody in, so originally, Elia Carranza is her name, 154-pounder out of Miami, Florida, representing Puerto Rico. She was originally somebody that I looked for an opponent for Olivia. I must have called that girl about 2 or 3 times and was like, hey, you want to fight Olivia? And she's like, no, I don't think it's the right time. And it wasn't. It wasn't the right time. You know, as a manager, I was just doing my due diligence because there's not a lot of women. Right. And then I tried one more time. It didn't work out either. And then I needed sparring for her. I needed sparring for Olivia because there's not a lot of women in the city of Chicago, let alone the size of Olivia in the city of Chicago, to be able to find it that big. And so I messaged her and her coach, and they came down in January of last year, and they got some work in. And me and her were talking, and we kind of just started a rapport, and was asking me a bunch of questions because she knew that I was the one who managed Olivia's career, and she knew, the Shadeja thing is one thing, but everything else prior. I'm more. It's really weird. I'm proud of the Shadeja fight all day, but as a manager, I'm proud of all the other fights. Because if it wasn't for all those other fights, she wouldn't be able to be where she was. And on top of that, for my own butter, my own biscuit, I guess, matchmaker. I matchmake all of their fights. I'm contacting people at different hours and different time zones to try to get the right fights to build their career. I've done that for not just my stable, but I've done that for multiple stables throughout Chicago. When the promoter has people, they'll ask me, hey, can you help me with the matchmaking? And I help them make a lot of the fights, the good, the bad, the ugly fights. I've done them all, really. And that's something that I've taken on a lot of that. In the past, that's not going to happen as much now. I'm going to focus on my crop of fighters and building my guys now. I am looking to sign a couple more fighters. And with Elia, then she came down for the first 2 weeks of her camp for her last fight that she just fought on June 29th. She beat a woman named Kate Levine, a unanimous decision, 6 rounds. And she came down for 2 weeks, and I essentially put her through a camp, as well as me and her getting to know each other. She stayed in my house. My wife made every meal for her every day, put her in the lower level. I was able to meet her lovely wife and be able to have conversations with them and understand them as people. I think that's my biggest part as a manager now. Each one of them are different. Each one of them have their own life, their own schedule. I'm not here to be able to be like, you're not going to work anymore. You're going to quit your job. I'm not, this isn't Trinidad Garcia, the bankroll. This is Trinidad Garcia managing the what's it called. So I'm not going to tell them what they can and cannot do. And so as we went through that, and Elia was able to talk to her, Ronnie, and be able to gauge who I am as a person, she made the decision for me to be able to sign her and give me the honor to be able to sign her with my business partner, Jason Parenzo. He's been in the music industry for a long time, so he's able to help me with multiple things, as well as been in boxing for over 15 years himself. So we're able to bounce those things off each other. And Elia was the next great move for us. A lot of people don't realize is we have a top 5 fighter in most sanctioning bodies in Olivia Curry, and I have a top 5 fighter in most sanctioning bodies with Elia Carranza. And is soon to be, in the next year and a half, probably one of the top prospects in the United States. And be able to say that and build that and mean that means so much to us as Unanimous Management.
To conclude, obviously we're announcing today the announcement of Unanimous Management, right? Yes, so you are a management company now for boxers. For everyone out there, just kind of let us know the final goal for the management company in itself. We've met, the boxers, you've talked about them. The Parley, Kendall and I collaborating with you to help, announce this and so forth. What's the final word on this management company that you want everyone to know out there in the boxing community?
I think it's a great question, but I think is when you're done, it sounds funny, when we're done, we're still gonna have a relationship with each other. You don't see that in boxing anymore. I can easily see me and Olivia when she decides to retire, me and her have a whole thing of give me an old fashioned and we'll sit by the fire and you're like, I'm done now. And I'll be fine with it. When they tell me that you helped me not only be a better fighter and manage that, but a better person, I want them to have no regrets when this is over. And to be able to, I've met thousands of boxers in my life. How many of them, Kendall, you'll vouch for this too. We've been around gyms for forever. You guys vouch. How many is the woulda, coulda, shoulda, what I shoulda, what I could have done, what I should have done, what's it called? I want that to stop here. When you're with Unanimous Management, I want those things to stop. I want all of those things there's a clear-cut understanding that we're here for them. I've heard a lot of sayings of, don't let the inmates run the asylum. That statement to me is the wildest statement in the world. I am working for them. I'm here for them first. And if anybody wants to say differently, they're more than welcome to. But my goal is to make sure that the way they're talking and speaking and the way that hopefully their pockets grow and we're able to get those bigger fights and we're able to do that when they leave this, we're all still friends. I clearly see myself. I went to Disney World with Olivia and my family. Ronnie just came back from Disney World with me and my family. You know, I want to build those relationships with them, but I want it that when it's done, you gotta go relax, Chucky. Relax. See, I knew it was gonna come too. In time, bro. Be calm. I just met the kid 5 minutes ago. What's it called? But in time, being able to develop those relationships with the fighter. I just don't want to have regrets anymore. I'm sick of hearing the what it could and should have been. It stops with the unanimous management.
All right. Well, I guess let me sign up. I'll get in shape. I got it. No, it's awesome. Actually, it's a pleasure.
Rouse the shape. Go ahead.
Yeah, right.
I hear that one too much.
Sorry, man.
It's okay. It's
easy. Go ahead.
It's all good. Well, Kendall says, we're happy to be here, obviously, to announce this. This is huge. The city of Chicago and boxing is a big community in the city, and people don't know about it. It's crazy. I've gone across the country and people are like, oh, there's boxing in Chicago? Like, yeah, there's a lot of boxers in Chicago.
Yeah.
And so you were one of those, you're one of those guys that puts the spotlight on the city in the boxing community. So definitely proud of that. But also the Parley is proud to be here and to announce this announcement for you on unanimous management.
Guys, I really appreciate you guys coming out. Me and Kendall have known each other for a long time. 100 years ago when I was like 147. I used to spar Kendall when he was 200 and something. We're not saying that he was picking on people.
If I recall correctly, you asked me for the work. So I was like, okay.
Why? Like, let's. I think the age is hitting you. What's it called? No, but thank you guys so much. I think that having you guys as an outlet for boxing, not just Chicago boxing, but for boxing, is phenomenal all the way around. And I think being able to make a phone call, be able to talk to you guys, have that conversation, have the relationship that I've had with Kendall for a very long time, respecting the opinions of everyone means a lot to us. But thank you guys so much for coming on out and helping us with this announcement.
Best of luck, Olivia, as you move forward, Jordan as well, and all of your boxers. And the Parley will be around the gym. We'll be around here.
Thank you.
Seeing what's going on, and hopefully
we got some big things coming up. So I'm going to be excited about bringing you guys in.
Okay, great.
Sounds good. It's TLO Kendall Gill for the Parley. What's up, guys? TLO here for the Parley. 15-year NBA veteran Kendall Gill there.
Sir.
Don't forget to subscribe to everything you see there in the description box. We want to hear from you guys, and of course, hit that bell for the notifications. Like that, you know what's going on.
Hit it.
By the way, just want to make sure you know, Tyson Fury has never lost a fight to Deontay Wilder.
And this is untrue. He lost the first fight.
I don't even want to hear it, bro.
He lost the first fight.
I don't even want to hear it, bro.
He lost the first one.
He did it, bro.
He lost the first one.
He did it, bro.
You have yet to watch that fight with me. He lost the last two, but not the first.